Welcome to Payoff Pitch, Action Network's Major League Baseball betting podcast. It is Friday, August 22nd. I'm Collin Whitchurch, joined today by Derek Carty to dive into today's full MLB slate. The weekend is here. We've got some fun series between contenders getting started. Dodgers and Padres meet again in San Diego after LA's sweep last weekend. Dodgers enter the day one game up in the NL West. Shane Bieber is making his much-anticipated Blue Jays debut in Miami against the Marlins. Might have something on that game here in a little bit. But we wouldn't be a proper baseball show without starting with the two teams in the matchup that nobody ever seems to get tired of talking about. Head over to social media. People will be like, Red Sox, Yankees. Man, that's all. Those are the only two teams I want to talk about. I hope ESPN broadcasts every game of that series. Nobody gets tired of hearing about Red Sox, Yankees. So that's how we're going to kick off our best bets with you, Derek. You're jumping on an angle on this pitching matchup. The Red Sox won 6-3 last night in the series opener. Roman Anthony, top prospect for the Red Sox, hit a big two-run homer in the ninth. Really epic bat drop on that no-doubter, too. I love the videos coming from that. Tonight, we've got Brian Bayo against Max Fried. Derek, what's your betting angle on another Yankees-Red Sox matchup?
I'm seeing value on the Yankees run line, -1.5, plus 135 is the best odds that are out there right now. I don't think this is a particularly close comparison between the two teams. Like, the Yankees are clearly the better offense. Max Fried is clearly the better pitcher. They clearly have the better bullpen. The Bat X is projecting them as strong values here. Thinks the fair price on this should be, instead of plus 135, more like instead of plus 135, more like minus 135. So it's seeing quite a bit of value on this one.
Wow. Yeah. Fried has kind of picked it back up here of late. I mean, I know last start against St. Louis was kind of a disaster. He went through a little bit of a rough stretch. Be interesting buy low spot on him off of a few clunkers there, and Bayo has been just up and down all year for Boston. So interesting angle there on the Yankees to win by more than a run tonight against the Red Sox. I think if the playoffs started today, those two teams would meet in the wild card round. They're the 4 and 5 seeds in the playoffs right now, so that would be very exciting. A lot of fireworks there between those two teams. We'll jump over to my best bet. I am going to the Mets-Braves game, another New York team. I was a really big fan of what I saw out of Nolan McLean in his MLB debut for the Mets. He could be a big addition to that New York rotation down the stretch in this chase for a playoff spot. They're obviously now 7 back of the Phillies, just a half game ahead of Cincy for the final wildcard spot. They do face the Phillies 7 more times the rest of the way, though. The Phillies obviously will be without Zach Wheeler. That race is probably over, but it's not definitely over. Anyway, McLean in his debut last week against the Mariners went 5 1/3, struck out 8, allowed just 2 hits. The reason he lasted just 5 1/3 innings is because he walked 4. Really impressive stuff, though. He probably had the best breaking ball in the minors before his call-up. Just immediate high bat missing potential in that Mets rotation. His K total tonight's 4.5. Juiced at about -150 to the over. I might take a stab there. If I do, I'll log it in the Action app. The Braves strike out about the 12th most often against right-handed pitching, so something to consider there. Not fully on board just yet. Might get there before game time. But my official best bet, though, is on a total. The other side of this matchup features Joey Wentz, former Braves first-rounder who had made a circuit around the league since they traded him at the deadline in 2019 for Shane Green. He struggled with the Tigers, mostly pitched in relief, made stops in Pittsburgh and Minnesota earlier this year before coming home to the team that drafted him. All he's done in 6 starts and 7 appearances. For the pitching-starved Braves, is put up a 2.6 ERA in 34 2/3 innings. This is the epitome of a can't keep getting away with this small sample of kind of nonsense with Wentz. He isn't this type of pitcher. He's gotten away with a lot of walks and allowing a lot of base runners in some of these starts. Obviously, he got knocked around by the Brewers a few weeks ago when the Brewers were knocking around anyone and everyone. I'm selling Wentz long-term, but I'm not selling him today necessarily. He puts the Mets in their worst split, facing a left-handed pitcher. The Mets are a top 3 offense in baseball against righties by WRC+. They're 18th against lefties, 91 WRC+, so 9% worse than league average. They're a little bit better than that since the trade deadline at 103, but still just 12th best in the league. I want absolutely nothing to do with these bullpens. Ryan Helsley has been a dumpster fire since he came over from St. Louis at the deadline. The Braves bullpen has been a nightmare all season long, so I'm staying away from the full game total. But I do like the first 5 total under 4.5, which you can get around -110. Let's move on to our favorite underdogs. Got a couple of plus money teams Derek and I are looking to bet today. Mentioned the Brewers a minute ago. They cooled off a bit in Chicago this week, losing 3 of 5 to the Cubs. They still lead the NL Central by 7 games. They became the first team in MLB to reach 80 wins yesterday. Now they return home and host the fading Giants, who actually recently fell behind Arizona into 4th place in the NL West. Things really went south for San Francisco in the fast since they decided to trade at the deadline. Matchup of Southpaws tonight in Milwaukee. Veteran Jose Quintana on the mound against Carson Wisenhunt, top prospect for the Giants, who scuffled a bit in just 3 starts since joining the rotation. Obviously a lot of upside, though, top 100 guy. Giants think very highly of him. And Derek, do you think highly of him today as well?
I don't think he's anything like amazing at the moment, but I think the lines that we're getting here are going to give us some value. More than anything else, I see this as the market kind of overreacting to recent form. Obviously, the Brewers, they're not on their crazy win streak anymore, but they've still won 16 of their last 20. The Giants have only won 2 of their last 12. And I think when you put that together, and you go out there, you see the best line on the market right now is plus 167 for the Giants money line. They should not be that big of an underdog here. It's an overreaction to what's been happening lately, which, as we know from many years of studying baseball data, really is not all that predictive. And so I like the Giants here. I have them priced more like plus 115. And so you can definitely take this down, quite a bit and still get some value.
Interesting there. That's just a quintessential sharp MLB play. I feel like betting the fading team being undervalued against the red hot best team in baseball. The Brewers have been confounding analysts and handicappers for about 2 months now, though. 32 games above 500 is incredible. Sam Miller wrote on Pebble Hunting, his blog just the other day, about the number of hits they've gotten on infield grounders this year, high above. You give them they give them a 28th out and they take advantage of it. It's really incredible stuff. They're the story of baseball this year. We'll see if they get it done tonight. My favorite underdog is the Royals. They're going off at about plus 135 in Detroit against the Tigers tonight. Detroit has really righted the ship after just an absolutely terrible stretch there post All-Star break. They just swept the Astros in impressive fashion. They outscored Houston 18-2 over 3 games. 2 of those games were shutouts. Tigers have now won 7 of 8 and 9 of 11. The Royals have actually also been pretty hot lately. They actually leapfrogged the Guardians in the AL Central race and the wild card standings. More notably, they're 2 back of Seattle for the final wild card spot. After Kansas City kind of soft bought at the trade deadline, one of those pieces they brought back was Ryan Bergert, who they got from San Diego in a deal that sent catcher Freddie Fermin to San Diego. We saw the Royals make a similar move 2 years ago when they stole Cole Reagans from the Rangers at the trade deadline and almost immediately turned him into an ace. I'm not saying Bergert's an ace necessarily, but his results have been solid. And there's some strong underlying data to back it up. It's not necessarily in the stuff department either. Stuff Plus actually doesn't regard any of his offerings as above average. Michael Rosen at Fangraphs noted in an article just a couple weeks ago about how Bergert gets insane vertical break on his fastball thanks to his ability to backspin it while also throwing a breaking ball with an incredible amount of horizontal movement. Something you just don't see from pitchers who aren't like, peak Garrett Cole or peak Jacob deGrom, having that much spin on your fastball and having that much vertical or horizontal movement on your breaking ball. It's a really interesting mix. Since joining the Royals rotation, he's also started locating his fastball higher in the zone and throwing his sweeper more often against lefties to steal early strikes. There's something the Royals, they aren't necessarily regarded as like the peak of the peak in the pitching development department, not like, say the Guardians or whoever else you want to throw up there among the top pitching development orgs. They're not regarded that way, but they definitely identify a certain type of pitcher that they know they can work with. And Berger seems like it's it. So I'm bullish on him going forward. I like him tonight against the Tigers and Casey Mize, who's coming off his best start in at least a month. He struck out 10 against the Twins his last time out. He did still give up 4 earned runs in that starting, though, and he's gotten tagged a few times of late, including in underwhelming outings against teams like the Pirates and twice against the aforementioned Twins. So I like this pitching matchup for the Royals. I think Berger is a bit underrated. I'm very interested in seeing what he does tonight and the rest of the season. So I'll take a stab at him and the Royals as underdogs tonight at plus 135. We do have a couple more bets to give out here, but before we get going, just a reminder that football season is here, folks. College football week 0 tomorrow, in fact. NFL right around the corner. We've got some huge improvements and updates coming on the award-winning Action Network app, which we're very excited to discuss in the weeks ahead. But to get the most out of the app, you'll still need to be an Action Pro subscriber. It's only with Action Pro you get real-time pick alerts from me, Derek, Sean Zarillo, the entire Action Network team of experts. Plus, you can access pro projections powered by Sean Kerner and our predictive analytics team, and a ton of other benefits. Right now, Action Network podcast and Payoff Pitch listeners can save $20 off the annual price of Action Pro. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro and use code PAYOFF20. That's actionnetwork.com/pro, code PAYOFF20 for $20 off the annual price of Action Pro. All right, final bets time. I just talked about why I like the Royals tonight. Derek, one of your final bets is a long shot homer pick from that game that I like quite a bit as well.
Yeah, this one's definitely dependent on the odds that you can find it at. They're kind of all over the place depending on what book you're looking at. But Jonathan India to hit a home run tonight, the best line in the market right now is plus 1,400. If you can get it anywhere around that, I like it quite a bit. But I think the low man in the market is more like plus 650 or something. So it's really all over the place. But if you can get it on the high end, I like it. Only projects to win about 9% of the time. So, probably not a winner here, but really, especially with home runs in particular, it's just about the probability that it's going to happen compared to the odds implied, or the probability implied by the odds. And, India, there's nothing in particular about the matchup that really jumps out to me, but there's a price for anything. And I think for India, if you're getting it at the top of this market, the price is right.
Underwhelming season from India thus far. 8 homers this year. I'm on board with any bet that's going to fade Casey Mize, who I'm going against tonight. And you've hit a couple long shot homer bets over the year, Derek. So that's definitely worth jumping on board. As Derek said, it's not something you're going to put a significant amount of your bankroll on, but if the price is right, it's a nice little flyer to have. It is time for my contractually obligated mention of the Chicago White Sox on this podcast. They face the Twins tonight in a series everyone will be watching, and tonight's pitching matchup features Aaron Savali against one of my favorite young pitchers in baseball, one Daniel Zebulon Matthews. If you're a regular listener, you've heard me back Zebby Matthews before. Since his arrival in the majors, he's been a very erratic arm in his 10 starts for the Twins, but one thing that has been consistent is his ability to miss bats. He struck out 6, 9, and 6 batters in his last 3 starts, and 6 or more batters in 5 of 6 starts since rejoining the Twins rotation after the All-Star break. I'm never going to let trends dictate what I bet. The biggest trap you can set for yourself is to look at a game log and say, this guy has done something 4 out of the last 5 games, and then bet on that again for that reason alone. But with Zebby, it's more that he has displayed really elite swing and miss stuff throughout his short major league career and going back to his time in the minors as a top prospect. Those last 3 starts I mentioned, 2 of those have been against the Tigers, 1 against the Yankees. He also went to 17 swinging strikes against the Yankees in 99 pitches. And 99 pitches is also very notable because we know the Twins are going to let him pitch deeper into games. They were kind of babying him earlier in the year, but he's top 90 pitches each of his last 2 times out. Tonight he faces a White Sox team that doesn't strike out practically at all against left-handed pitchers, but strikes out plenty against righties. We saw another young righty with good stuff, Hurston Waldrop, tear them up just the other night in Atlanta, so I'm expecting more of the same from Zebby tonight. I bet Zebby Matthews over 5.5 strikeouts at minus 130. Definitely some ladder opportunities there. As I mentioned, we've seen him get up to 7, 8, 9 strikeouts before. Possible tonight against a White Sox offense that isn't quite as scary against righties, but for the more risk averse, over 5.5 at -130 is a good line as well. Two more hitter props from you, Derek. News just broke about a half hour before we started recording that Samuel Basallo just signed a big long-term extension to stay in Baltimore. They're obviously betting big on their young catcher. What this does about the future of Adley Rutschman, we're not really sure. But Basallo is up. He's very intriguing, and you've got an angle on him tonight facing the Astros and a returning Lance McCullers Jr.
Yeah, I like his over half a walk bet, or to take a walk at plus 280 is the best line on the market right now. Hasn't drawn a walk in the majors yet, but it's also only been 4 games, 15 plate appearances. Like you said, elite prospect, just got this huge extension. You look in the minors, and he's been not like an elite walk rate guy, but like definitely he can draw a walk. And so I think, the prop lines are maybe just overreacting a little bit to what we've seen so far over the small sample, which they do tend to do for younger guys. And I'm going to bank on the regression coming here for Basallo at this number.
Very intriguing young bat for Baltimore. I'm glad they're giving some of their young guys some playing time here in a lost season. We saw Dylan Beavers hit his first major league homer, I think, last night for Baltimore. And for Basallo, as you mentioned, just 3 games, 11 plate appearances, but he's only struck out once. So, he's got a good sense of the strike zone. One more bet coming up from Derek. I'll give my last bet here as well. As I mentioned at the top, Shane Bieber making his much anticipated debut for the Blue Jays tonight in Miami against the Marlins. In Bieber's last rehab start, he hit 90 pitches in 7 shutout innings. So many are expecting him to be at or very close to full strength here in his first MLB start in 16 months. He made 2 starts for Cleveland at the very start of the 2024 season before going down with injury and has been out ever since. That may very well may be the case. He may be at full strength. Bieber's outs recorded over-under set at 17.5, which intrigued me. It was a lot higher than I expected to get from a pitcher back after being out that long. But the Blue Jays haven't said anything about limitations, so I'm hesitant to bet against him from a workload perspective. I will, however, bet against him in the strikeout department. Even before his injury, with the exception of his 2 starts in 2024, his K numbers have been in the decline from his Cy Young peak in 2020 and 2021. The Marlins have struck out the 5th least frequently against right-handed pitching since the trade deadline. And if you want to go for the full season number, they're still bottom 8. So Marlins, not what you think of as a elite offense, but they don't strike out that much, particularly against righties. I think Bieber was a nice buy low get for the Blue Jays pennant push at the trade deadline, but I want to see it from him a time or two before I'm really buying him. I think it takes him a little bit to get his legs under him. Tonight he faces a team without a lot of swing and miss in the lineup, especially since sending Jesus Sanchez to Houston at the deadline, one of their more strikeout-prone hitters. So I'm on Bieber under 5.5 strikeouts tonight. I got that at -145. All right, to close things out, Derek, I'll let you close with a bet on a player not a lot of people have probably heard of, a Cardinals outfielder in tonight's game between St. Louis and Tampa.
Yeah, I'm betting on Nathan Church to not strike out tonight at plus 150. This is almost a similar angle to the Basallo one, where he's had very little experience at the major league level, only 4 games, 16 plate appearances, has struck out a decent bit in those, but you look at what he's done in the minor leagues, and he is a guy who has theoretically pretty good plate discipline. In the minors this year, his strikeout rate was under 10%. So when you translate all this to the majors, you look on Fangraphs, you see the bats projecting him as more of a 13% K rate guy. So is pretty much every other system on Fangraphs. And so really a low strikeout rate guy against a low strikeout pitcher in Adrian Hauser, and we're getting good plus odds on it.
Love it. Just for those keeping track at home, that was 9 bets we gave out on 15 games in 15 to 20 minutes. I'm not really sure. And all 5 of Derek's bets today are coming at plus money. So those of you looking to get nice juice, I think that we had you covered a little bit today. But that's going to do it for us for today's episode of Payoff Pitch. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to tail some of the bets from today's episode, look for the quick slip links in the episode description. Don't forget to download the free award-winning Action Network app. And also don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to the podcast. Also check out the Action Network Discord. There's a link in the episode description of this podcast as well. We will be back on Monday with another episode of Payoff Pitch. For Derek Carty, I'm Collin Whitchurch. Thanks for listening to Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast. Good luck with all your bets and have a great weekend.